For much of the year, Manchin played a huge role for the party's climate, healthcare, and tax agenda. Last month, he lent his approval pivotal support to the Inflation Reduction Act, the centerpiece of Democrats' economic plans, that he authored in secret with Chuck Schumer. It would pass in Republican votes, but unlike that expensive measure, he had no way in Biden's design of the student loan relief program. Manchin's view was not entirely unique to his party. Colorado Senator Michael Bennet, who is up for re-election in November, said in a statement that following Biden's announcement, he wished Biden had further targeted the relief and proposed a way to pay for his plan. Bennet added, while immediate relief to families is important, one-time debt cancellation does not solve the underlying problem. While many Republicans continue to slam the relief, sign the cost it could have to taxpayers and the economy, the leading voices on loan forgiveness like Chuck Schumer have vowed to continue pushing for up to $50,000 in rent relief. Even after that, President Biden's administration said on multiple occasions, this is a one-time blanket loan forgiveness. Schumer thanked Biden for taking action on student debt relief and criticized Republicans for what he called fake outrage on the decision. On the issue, information has been released on the fourth round of stimulus checks from President Biden's administration. Democrats and Republicans are discussing whether all Americans should receive extra financial assistance. Some states and cities have already approved new gas relief checks to help offset the rising prices. Right now, a large number of companies and institutions are finding ways to help Americans cope with inflation by doling out employee bonuses or by offering more promotions than usual. In July, consumer prices jumped 8.5% compared to a year earlier, down from June when prices popped 9.1%. And while Americans got some relief last month with inflation slipping lightly, it's still slightly around its 40-year high. The Bureau of Labor Statistics releases the August inflation report this coming Tuesday. And now, to help with the rising prices, Domino's announced an inflation relief deal. Customers will get 20% off all menu-priced items ordered online for a limited time. According to the pizza chain, this applies to stores nationwide. The move was similar to Krispy Kreme's promotion back in April when the donut maker offered customers a discount on its sweet treats to offset the pain at the pump. The company sold a dozen original glazed donuts for the price of a gallon of gas. Aside from the product discounts, some employees are also getting extra cash in order to combat this painfully high price. The Lowe's CEO told analysts earlier this month that the company is giving out bonuses to hourly frontline associates in recognition of some of the cost pressures that they are facing due to inflation. Lawmakers in Newsom have already finally a deal. Gavin Newsom recently finalized a deal to send $9.5 billion back to Californians feeling the crush of $6 gas and rising cost of groceries and other products and services. The payments, which could be as much as $1,000, also are coming from Governor Gavin Newsom. The Franchise Tax Board will not start the process until October because the agency is already dealing with tax. New relief is here. There is a new payment schedule for the fourth round of checks.
It's always good to be in the House of Labor. I want to thank you all for the work you do every day that inspires us. And Secretary Walsh, thank you. You are a great partner in this effort and a great leader in our administration. So good afternoon, everyone. Before we get started, I just want to say a word about the jobs report that came out today. I think we all know that it really shows that Americans are getting back to work. And what we are seeing is that it is happening at a record-setting pace. As a result of the diligence and the determination of the American people and the policies of our administration, our nation's economic recovery continues to be, let there be no doubt, the strongest in the world. And again, I want to thank Marty Walsh for his introduction and the work you do every day. So it is good to be back also in Prince George's County. Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, it's good to be back with you as always, my former colleagues, and of course to be here at Iron Workers Local 5 with all of you. And I know we're all waiting to hear in a moment from one of the greatest friends of union labor workers, President Joe Biden. So I just have a few comments to make. All of the workers gathered here know that our administration will always stand in solidarity with you and with organized labor. It comes from our heart, it comes from our soul. We are unequivocal and clear about the importance of that relationship, not only to us and our administration, but to our country and the working men and women of America. Because we know union workers built our nation. You know, I think about a place like San Francisco. Union workers built the Golden Gate Bridge. In Chicago, union workers built the Willis Tower. In St. Louis, union workers built the Gateway Arch. And in New York City, on hallowed ground, in the years after 9/11, workers from dozens of different unions built One World Trade Center. And so the point there being,
One new poll found that 94% of Americans are upset or concerned about inflation. And they're overwhelmingly not happy with what the Biden administration is doing about it. Just 28% of the country approved of President Biden's handling of inflation. The worst part is that this pain was certainly not inevitable. American families could have been spared all of this. Last spring, Democrats had inherited an economy that was ready for a historic comeback. Even top liberal economists such as Larry Summers and Jason Furman, both senior advisors to the Obama White House, warned that Democrats' $2 trillion spending binge was completely out of proportion to the remaining output gap. The country didn't need anything like it. Summers warned of inflationary pressures of a kind we've not seen in a generation. Furman said it's definitely too big for the moment. But Democratic politicians didn't listen. Here's the Senate. The Democratic leader said, quote, "I do not think the dangers of inflation, at least in the near term, are very real." That was Leader Schumer last March, so they spent all that money anyway, and sadly for the American people, the rest is now history. Democrats spent $2 trillion of the American people's money and purchased the worst inflation in more than 40 years. Well, actually, that's not all it purchased. Sure, the Democrats' $2 trillion didn't buy our country anything lasting like a Hoover Dam or an interstate highway system, nothing like that. But the money had to go someplace.